Similarly to the previous video, I would like to show you the whole masking workflow on this example, when I would like to again replace the background. As you can see, this background is really busy. The front of the image is very interesting with this very nicely decorated gate, but I just want to get rid of the background. And I have another image here which I would like to use. So this is what I would like to incorporate into this photograph. Now, to do this, I am going to use masking, of course, because we already talked about it. This is the non-destructive way of editing images. So let me start doing the whole process using the quick selection tool once again. So I selected the quick selection tool, and I am going to change my brush size, make it a little bit bigger, and I am going to start drawing over this part here in the background. I'm going to try to select the roof as well, and as you can see, I selected a part here which I didn't want to select. In these cases, you can hold down Alt or Option on the keyboard to remove from the selection. So you just need to draw over it again to remove. And then I can continue. So let me continue and come down this way. Again, select that person in the background and try to keep her out of the selection, because I would like to keep her in the photo. And that is almost done. Now here you can see again the head is now selected, which I didn't want to have selected. So I'm just going back one step, and I am going to come back to this part a little bit later, because as you can see with this tool I can't be as precise as I need to be. So I'm going to leave this part, and I'm going to continue a little bit further down this way, and then do the same thing on the right, and maybe select a couple of other parts here which are again easy to select. But as you can see, again, quick selection tool couldn't work properly on that part. So I am going to probably leave it at this point, and maybe just select a little bit more with this tool. But the reason why it's called quick selection tool is because you shouldn't spend too much time with this tool trying to make a very fine selection. You can always refine your selections later on. So far so good. We have a selection, but we have to turn this into a mask. And with that mask, I would like to hide these selected parts. So if we want to do what we did in the previous tutorial, we will have a slight problem. So let me just try that. I'm going to click on the mask icon here. As you can see, the masking will always keep whatever is selected from the selected layer and will hide everything else. Because our selection was of the background, now we can see the background which we wanted to get rid of in the first place. What we can do is go to the Properties panel, which was it's used to be called as Masks panel in previous versions, and in this panel you will find an option called Invert. Now that's a very useful option. If you click on Invert, it will invert the colors of the mask, which means we will see the opposite. And again, the opposite of the image will be hidden. So as you can see, if I click on Invert again, now we see the background and not the foreground. And if I want to invert it, I'm just going to invert the colors. Once again, black hides, white shows. If I alt click on the mask, you can see black hides, white shows, so the foreground is hidden. If I click on Invert, now the foreground will be visible and the background will be hidden. So I alt click on the mask icon again, and then we can see the image properly. Now, I can see that there are a couple of problems here, especially around the head area, but even here on the side, we have some issues that we have to sort out. But before I do that, I would like to start the creative part and place a new image in the background. So let me just select the other image here, which I already opened, and I would like to move this into the background. Now in these cases I use an option. Under the window menu you can find Arrange and choose Style All Vertically option. With this you can see the images side by side. Now if I use the Move tool and drag this image and drop it onto the other image, it's already there, so we can turn off this one here on the right. Because on this one we already have two layers on top of each other, as you can see. we have to have the tree in the background. So I'm going to click and drag and put it below the other layer. So now the tree is actually looks like it's in the background. So I can move it around, and I can even make it smaller if I want to. But for now, I'm just going to keep it like this, big. So there's the tree in the background. Maybe I move it a little bit to the left. So all I need to do is now fix these couple of problems here. And that's why it's very useful to work non-destructively, because I can just select the mask and use the brush tool, zoom a bit closer, and all I need to do is set up my brush and draw over these parts. That's a very fast way to get rid of these problems. Okay, again, here's another part which is still visible from the original background. Then here's another part. And then we can, again, just follow the line of the hat first. Accurately, try to be accurate. And here, we can also be a bit faster by making a selection using the rectangular marquee tool. Make sure that we won't draw over the wall itself. And then I can use the brush again, draw over this part here. But as you can see, once I get close to the wall, I won't draw over the wall. That's again just makes it easier to finalize and fine-tune the whole masking. As you can see, it's already much better. And then we have a couple of issues here as well, which we can draw over. Just very quickly, let me draw over these parts. I don't want to take away too much. Something like that. Some parts on the edges, the image or the selection itself doesn't look great, so I'm drawing over those as well. And once again, here I can make the selection better, and so on and so forth. I could continue doing this because with this tool, the brush tool, you can be very precise, but of course it's also time consuming, so you have to spend a little bit more time here. But as you can see, all in all, it looks already much better. So let me just turn off the mask again, just to show you that we didn't delete anything. So if I shift click on the mask, I will turn it off and we can see the original background. If I shift click on the mask again, I can show the new background by hiding the original background. So the new background is this image, the second image, which I can turn off. Then we can see the transparency of on the first layer, on the top layer. If I turn back the other layer, I can use the move tool to move it around, or Command T or Control T to access the free transform tool and make the whole tree a little bit smaller, so we can see a little bit more detail from it. Like this, maybe. Something that suits the whole perspective a bit better. And now that we know the basic masking workflow, I would like to talk about the creative uses of masking. So in the next video, we will see how to use it together with adjustment layers.